Hey everybody, I wanted to have a quick chat about the state of trans politics this morning, so here's what I want to do. I want to start with an apology. I want to talk about something we're doing that I think isn't serving us, and then I want to talk about where I want to go. But first, the apology. I am aware that I have not always been the leader and the friend in the trans community that I want to be. I think it's with good intentions, but I think sometimes I say things in a way that is unskillful, and I apologize for that. When I call a trans woman sister, I really mean that. We have gone through something together that is so painful. It is so traumatic. My own husband, we've been married for 16 years, and he doesn't understand a lot of this stuff like you do. We don't even have to say a word to each other, and we can see this profound pain in one another. So I just want to say I've not been the friend I want to be, and I want that to change. So with that open spirit, I want to share where I think we are as a civil rights movement. Every trans girl has a moment right before she transitions. She's tried to make it as a man, and it has just absolutely broken her. Maybe she has addiction, maybe she has a major depressive episode or suicidal ideation, or all three, or stuff that's even different and worse. But inside of herself, she knows that she's going to die if something doesn't change. So she reaches inside of herself and finds that strength and does something that seemed impossible once. And she knows that most people are not going to understand, and a lot of people are going to hate her. That is a moment of courage. And frankly, that desperate situation is where the trans civil rights movement is. Y'all, we are going to die if we stay on this course. Let's look honestly at where we are right now in this moment. The Republicans have made destroying our civil rights a centerpiece of the 2024 election. I know a lot of you don't see it, but normie parents, like parents that do not pay attention to politics, are extremely suspicious of us because of an expanded project to make children question their gender. Some of it's good, some of it I agree with, but parts of it have been done so unskillfully, we are making enemies out of that. We have major media outlets like the New York Times. They're openly hostile to us at this point. And I'm telling you, on this course, the Democratic Party and LGBT groups are not going to stand as strongly with us in the next 5 years as they have in the last 5. Because we are associated with a toxic and extremist agenda that they just cannot stand with. I know it's scary, but I truly believe in my heart, on this course, adults are going to lose access to HRT in the next decade. I really believe that our legal gender change is going to be rolled back on this course. We have to do something different. But I can tell you what I think we should do. And I think we should be extremely eager to have a real conversation with people. I actually think we should be more eager than the right wing is. I think when studies come out about puberty blockers and the outcome isn't quite clear, I want us to be the first ones going to parents and saying, this isn't really clear here that this helps. But here's what we do know, and here's what we need to do going forward to figure out how to help children that could be just like yours. I think that's how you build trust. I think that when the number of children claiming they're trans skyrockets, I think we should be eager to go talk to parents and go, I wonder why that is. We have really changed these criteria for gender dysphoria in the last few years, and we do have all this new non-binary stuff. Maybe this is part of it. Maybe we don't need to medicalize everything. My point is, no matter what the answers are, we need to be honest with everyone about what we know and what we don't know. And there's a real sense that we just are not doing that anymore. I think that we can have a conversation about all of this and have dignity for trans people as our North Star. I think we can bring in parents and politicians and healthcare workers, not as enemies, not as combatants, but as partners that we want to talk to and get to the right public policy with. And when you really, really get down to it, our message is about hope for trans people, and theirs is about despair. If I've learned anything in life, it's that hope always shines brighter than despair. How do we fix this? Well, there's several things that I want to do. I'm going to have some legislative initiatives next year to talk about, but in the meantime, I want us to have a smarter conversation. And a place that I think we can have a smarter conversation about trans issues is a show I'm announcing today called Dollcast. I am making this show with my good friends Kelly Cadigan, Taff, and Skylar Bogert. These are all amazing women. I am honored to call all of them friends. We all have a really wide variety of perspectives on trans issues. Kelly and Taff, they transitioned as teenagers. Sky and I, we both did it in our 20s. Kelly and I, we are into men. Sky and Taff are dating or married to women. We all have seen this movement at different time periods. I'm in my 40s. Sky is in her 30s. Taff and Kelly are in their 20s. And because of this, we all have really different perspectives about where we need to go. But here's what we have in common. We transitioned not to become political activists, but to integrate as women. And our politics are not doctrinaire, left or right. They are thoughtful. And every single one of us feels in our bones we've got to build something new and better for our community. Here's something I think. If you are a trans woman today who is interested in integration the same way I was, I don't think you really have a place to go in 2024. I think that the price of just entering the trans club is subscribing to a bunch of fringe politics and agreeing to never challenge the mob. And I think because all of us go through this experience and come to different conclusions, I think invariably the trans community of today, it takes its turn abusing us one by one. I don't know a single trans woman that has not spent a turn being hurt by the trans community. And that's not what I think most of us want. I think this version of the trans movement in 2024 doesn't have a place for normal trans women to go. I actually think that this version of the trans movement is taking most of us away from lives as women because it is so combative and it is so male-coded. And the place I want to go with all of you is one where we can act like debate bros less and try to make connections with one another and find out what we agree on and move forward together the way that every other successful civil rights movement has done it. I want to build something different. And frankly, I think it'll be fun. So stay tuned. Here's a clip from our first show.
Recently, at a LGB Alliance event, an organization that excludes trans people, just want to be clear about that, it's LGB, youth trans rights activists released crickets. I was pretty shocked, but also kind of thought it was funny. Yeah, what do we think about this?
I'm scared that my opinion is going to be really unpopular, but I absolutely hate this. I think the Drop the T movement, I think it's really transphobic and horrible. But I think if we're serious about trans public policy, what we've got to do is start acting like adults again. What we need is to move away from the awareness portion of it. People are aware. In fact, I would say our activists have made people way too aware of us.
I want to agree with you, Brie. I really do. So many of the people literally hate us, want us to not exist, like borderline be like, I want a nationwide ban on HRT. I don't think anyone should be trans. And it's like, I just don't know at this point how to even have a conversation with these people when they basically just want to force us to revert back.
Taking some shots, Kelly. I love it. I think on one hand, crickets at a conference is not that big of a deal. It's an easy thing to clean up. But at the same time, it's not at the core of what we're trying to do. And I would come out and wholeheartedly condemn, honestly, what they did.
I understand why people did it because I get the frustration. And it's like, I know you're saying like, oh, well, we're the adults. We have to be the ones that are like showing we can be normal and we're not all crazy. What about them not acting like adults? Like they're acting crazy. They're extreme as well. Would people be as upset about this or think it was as crazy if they were doing this to like Nazis or like people like in the KKK?
You bring up Nazis and the KKK. These are good examples because there's broad moral consensus about the depravity of Nazis and the KKK. And so if you release crickets on like a Klan meeting or something, you already have lots of people on your side. Trans people just don't have the benefit of that kind of moral consensus. I think that we have to win our respect in perhaps the same way that other people have won it before, by rising above and not sinking to the level of our enemies. You know, we have to be able to show that we are worthy of that moral righteousness and clarity.